A black woman was unjustly humiliated by a bank employee, but he didn't know how rich she was. Her journey from a struggling single mother to a successful entrepreneur had been long and arduous. Linda's story began with a seemingly routine visit to the bank, only to be met with humiliation and prejudice that she quietly turned into a lesson in dignity and perseverance. Linda adjusted the collar of her simple blouse, the fabric worn from years of hard work, and took a deep breath before entering the bank. The cool air inside was a welcome respite from the sweltering summer heat. As she walked in, she noticed the furtive glances from other customers and employees, some curious, others disdainful. She was used to this. In their eyes, she was just another black woman in modest clothes, seemingly out of place in such a sophisticated environment. Approaching the counter, she was met by Tom, a bank teller with a reputation for his overt prejudices. His expression was one of barely disguised contempt. "Good morning, how can I help you?" he asked in a cold, impersonal tone. "Good morning," Linda replied calmly. "I would like to withdraw a large amount of money, please." Tom raised an eyebrow, his skepticism palpable. "And what amount would that be?" he asked, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Linda handed him a piece of paper with the amount written on it. When Tom saw the figure, his expression changed to one of shock and disdain. "Are you sure you have this amount in your account?" he asked mockingly. Linda nodded patiently. "Yes, I'm sure." Tom quickly checked the system and, upon confirming the high balance in Linda's account, his expression turned to one of disbelief. "This must be a mistake. There's no way someone like you has all this money," he said, almost laughing. The other customers and employees began to notice the situation, whispering among themselves. Linda remained calm and composed. "Please check again," she said quietly. Huffing and rolling his eyes, Tom called the manager. "Mr. Wilson? Mr. Wilson, could you come here for a moment? This woman is trying to withdraw an absurd amount of money." Mr. Wilson approached with a cordial smile but evaluative eyes. "Good morning. How can I assist you?" he asked, shaking Linda's hand. "Good morning, Mr. Wilson. I need to make a substantial withdrawal," Linda replied, handing over her ID and other documents. Mr. Wilson quickly checked the system and, upon seeing the balance in Linda's account, his demeanor shifted to one of immediate respect. "Ah, Ms. Williams, I apologize for any inconvenience. I see you are one of our major clients. Can we help you with anything besides the withdrawal?" Tom was speechless, his mouth agape. Linda remained composed. "Thank you, Mr. Wilson. For now, I just need the money." Mr. Wilson, now even more helpful, quickly processed the withdrawal. "I apologize for any misunderstanding, Ms. Williams. If you need anything else, please let me know directly." As the transaction was completed, Tom stood nearby, visibly embarrassed and uncomfortable. He had underestimated Linda, but now he understood his error. Mr. Wilson handed the money to Linda with a friendly smile. "Here you go, Ms. Williams. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to ask." "Thank you, Mr. Wilson," Linda replied, taking the envelope. She gave one last look at Tom, who was clearly remorseful, and left the bank with the same calm she had entered with. As she walked to her car, Linda reflected on the episode. She knew there was still much to be done to combat prejudice and discrimination, but she hoped her quiet yet significant presence could help make a difference. Linda drove back to her office, located in the city's more modest neighborhood. She preferred to keep her operations away from the financial center, where the pace was slower, and she could better observe the needs of the community she helped support. Entering her office, Linda was greeted by her trusted assistant, Maria. "Good morning, Ms. Williams. Did everything go well at the bank?" Maria asked, noticing her thoughtful expression. "More or less," Linda replied, handing her the envelope with the money. "There was a small incident, but nothing Mr. Wilson couldn't handle." Maria frowned, concerned. "Do they still doubt you because of your appearance?" Linda sighed. "Unfortunately, yes. But let's focus on work. We have a lot to do today." Throughout the day, Linda met with several managers of her small businesses. She owned a network of daycare centers, a few community clinics, and 2 restaurants known for their healthy cooking and welcoming service. Each manager brought detailed reports on their performance and discussed new strategies to improve the businesses. Later that day, Linda received a call from one of her managers, David, who sounded visibly nervous. "Ms. Williams, we have a problem at the Elm Street daycare. One of our main suppliers raised prices without prior notice. We need a quick solution, or we'll run out of supplies." Linda thought for a moment. "I'll be there right away. Call the supplier and tell them I'll be there in an hour." When she arrived at the Elm Street daycare, Linda was greeted by David, who explained the situation in detail. They had been caught off guard by the sudden price increase and needed to negotiate a new margin to keep prices affordable for their clients. Linda went straight to the supplier's office, determined to resolve the issue. Upon entering, she was greeted by the supplier's manager, a burly man named Mark. "Ms. Williams, I wasn't expecting to see you in person," Mark said, shaking her hand. "I prefer to handle important matters directly," Linda replied. "We need to talk about this price increase. We can't absorb this cost without hurting our clients." Mark tried to justify the increase with various reasons, but Linda, with her sharp negotiating skills, managed to show that their long-standing partnership deserved fairer treatment. After a lengthy negotiation, they reached an agreement that benefited both parties. Back at the daycare, Linda gathered the team and explained the situation, ensuring that prices would remain stable. The employees, relieved, thanked her for her quick and effective intervention. That night, as she returned home, Linda reflected on the day's challenges. She knew that appearances were often deceiving and that it was necessary to continue fighting against prejudices. She not only wanted to be an example of success, but also an inspiration for those facing similar difficulties. The following days were intense. Linda continued to juggle her various businesses, ensuring that everything was running smoothly. She also started working on a new project aimed at creating more jobs in the local community. One morning, while reviewing documents in her office, she received an unexpected visit. It was Mr. Wilson, the bank manager. "Ms. Williams, I apologize for the surprise, but I'd like to talk to you about something important," Mr. Wilson began. Linda offered him a chair and asked Maria to bring coffee. "Of course, Mr. Wilson. What can I do for you?" "I wanted to talk about the experience you had at the bank recently," Mr. Wilson said. "I was very bothered by the way you were treated and wanted to discuss some changes we're implementing to prevent that from happening again." Linda was surprised but listened attentively. Mr. Wilson explained that the bank was introducing diversity and inclusion training programs for all employees. They were also revising their customer service policies to ensure everyone was treated with respect and dignity. "That's very good to hear, Mr. Wilson," Linda said. "I believe these changes are necessary and will benefit not only your customers, but also your employees." Mr. Wilson nodded. "I completely agree, Ms. Williams. Additionally, we'd like to invite you to participate in a discussion panel we're organizing on inclusion in the financial sector. Your experience and perspective would be extremely valuable." Linda accepted the invitation, seeing it as an opportunity to positively influence the sector and share her experiences. Over the following weeks, Linda continued to manage her businesses efficiently, but was also involved in the bank's discussion panel, helping to shape new inclusion policies. The day of the discussion panel finally arrived. The bank's auditorium was packed with employees, customers, and community leaders eager to hear the talks on inclusion and diversity. Linda was introduced as one of the keynote speakers alongside other experts. When it was her turn, she walked confidently to the stage, feeling the curious gazes of the audience. She began her speech by sharing her experience at the bank, detailing the incident with the teller Tom and how Mr. Wilson intervened. She spoke about the importance of treating everyone with respect regardless of their appearance. Prejudices and discrimination not only hurt people, but also negatively affect businesses. "Inclusion is beneficial for everyone," Linda concluded, receiving a standing ovation from the audience. At the end of the event, several people approached to thank her and share their own stories. Linda felt that she was making a real difference. A few days later, while in her office, Linda received an urgent call from David. "Ms. Williams, we have a serious problem at the Oak Street Clinic. The water pipes burst, and we have severe damage. We need a significant amount for repairs." Linda knew she needed a quick solution. She decided to return to the bank to withdraw the necessary money for repairs. Upon entering the bank, she was greeted with smiles and greetings from the employees who now treated her with respect. Tom, visibly more humble and polite, approached. "Good morning, Ms. Williams. How can I help you today?" "I need to withdraw a large amount of money for an emergency at one of my clinics," she replied calmly. Tom checked Linda's account, now aware of her importance as a client, and quickly processed the withdrawal. "Everything is in order, Ms. Williams. I apologize for the incident last time. I'm working hard to improve," he said sincerely. Linda nodded. "Thank you, Tom. I'm glad to see the change." With the money in hand, Linda quickly drove to the Oak Street Clinic. The place was in chaos, with employees trying to contain the damage. She called a team of plumbers and hired a repair company to solve the problem as quickly as possible. While supervising the work, Linda received an unexpected visit. It was Mr. Wilson. "I heard about the problem here and wanted to offer my help," he said. "Thank you, Mr. Wilson. The situation is under control now, but your presence is much appreciated," Linda replied. Mr. Wilson looked around, seeing Linda's dedication to resolving the situation. "You are an admirable leader, Ms. Williams. Your ability to stay calm and solve problems is inspiring." Linda smiled modestly. "I believe we can all make a difference, Mr. Wilson. We just need opportunities and respect." With the clinic's problem resolved, Linda refocused on her businesses and the inclusion initiatives with the bank. She began giving talks at other financial institutions and local companies, sharing her experiences and promoting the importance of diversity and inclusion. During one of these talks, Linda received an unexpected proposal. A major investor, impressed with her vision and leadership, offered to fund the expansion of her businesses. "I want to help take your philosophy and success to other places. Your approach is exactly what we need in the business world." Seeing an opportunity to grow and influence even more people, Linda enthusiastically accepted the offer. She began planning the expansion of her businesses to other cities, always focusing on inclusion and supporting local communities. At the bank, the changes promoted by Linda and Mr. Wilson began to show results. Employees were more engaged, and customers were more satisfied. Tom, in particular, became an advocate for diversity and helped train new employees. With her businesses expanding and her philosophy of inclusion spreading, Linda felt she was finally achieving her goals. She dedicated herself to training new managers to ensure her practices were maintained in all new locations. On a sunny morning, Linda received a call from Maria. "Ms. Williams, there's a group of investors in your office. They are interested in discussing a partnership." Intrigued, Linda immediately headed to the office. Upon arrival, she was greeted by a group of investors who were impressed with the growth and positive impact of her businesses. "Ms. Williams, we've been following your work and are impressed with your innovative and inclusive approach. We'd like to propose a partnership to take your business model to a national level," one of the investors began. Linda listened attentively to the proposal. The investors wanted to invest a significant amount to open new units in several cities across the country. They were willing to follow all the guidelines and practices she had established. After a long discussion and analysis, Linda agreed to the partnership. She knew it meant more work, but also a greater opportunity to make a difference. With the help of the investors, she began planning the national expansion. Meanwhile, at the bank, Mr. Wilson continued to implement positive changes. He invited Linda to give a lecture to the bank's executives on the importance of inclusion and customer respect. During the lecture, Linda shared her experiences and emphasized the need for continuous changes to ensure a fair and welcoming environment for everyone. "It's not just about business," Linda said. "It's about dignity and respect. When we treat people equally, everyone benefits." Linda's words resonated deeply with the executives, who promised to continue working to improve the bank's practices. At a community event, Linda was honored for her contributions. She was recognized not only as a successful businesswoman, but also as a leader who inspired positive changes. During her acceptance speech, Linda talked about the challenges she faced and the importance of never giving up. "Each of us has the power to make a difference," she said. "Face challenges with courage and always fight for what is right." As Linda continued to expand her businesses and positively influence the community, she began receiving invitations to speak at conferences and business events across the country. Her story spread, inspiring others to follow her example. One afternoon, while reviewing expansion plans, Linda received an unexpected visit at the office. It was Tom, the bank teller who initially treated her with disdain. He seemed nervous but determined. "Ms. Williams, I hope I'm not bothering you," he said, entering timidly. "Not at all, Tom. What can I do for you?" she replied, offering him a seat. Tom took a deep breath before speaking. "I wanted to personally thank you for teaching me a valuable lesson. Since that day, I have worked hard to change my attitude and help promote inclusion at the bank. Your words and actions deeply inspired me." Linda smiled, feeling a mix of surprise and satisfaction. "I'm glad to hear that, Tom. We all have the capacity to change and grow. The important thing is to learn from our mistakes and move forward." They talked for a while, and Tom shared how he had gotten involved in various diversity initiatives at the bank. Linda encouraged him to continue his work and use his experiences to help others. That night, reflecting on recent events, Linda felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She knew her work was far from over, but the changes she had inspired were already making an impact. With the expansion of her businesses, she continued to hire and train employees from diverse backgrounds, ensuring everyone had a fair chance. She also established mentoring programs for young entrepreneurs in the community, offering guidance and support so they could achieve their dreams. Meanwhile, at the bank, Mr. Wilson and his team continued to promote positive changes, ensuring that all customers were treated with respect and dignity. Tom became a leader in the inclusion program, helping to train new employees and ensuring that the bank's culture remained fair and welcoming. With her businesses thriving and her influence growing, Linda became a respected and admired figure in the community. She not only led successful businesses but also inspired significant changes in local attitudes and policies. At a gala event to celebrate inclusion and diversity in the business sector, Linda was invited as the keynote speaker. The auditorium was filled with business leaders, community leaders, and young entrepreneurs eager to hear her words. Linda walked onto the stage with a serene smile, remembering her journey to that moment. She began her speech by sharing her humble origins and the challenges she faced along the way. "I know what it's like to be judged by appearance," she said firmly. "I know what it's like to be underestimated. But I also know that perseverance and dignity can transform any situation." She talked about the importance of treating everyone with respect, regardless of their appearance or background. She highlighted the benefits of an inclusive approach, both for businesses and for society as a whole. "When we create an environment where everyone feels valued and respected, we open the doors to innovation, collaboration, and growth," Linda stated. "True strength lies in diversity." The audience applauded warmly, and many approached afterward to thank her and share their own stories. Linda felt grateful to be able to inspire and be part of such significant change. Upon returning to her office, she received an unexpected visit from a young entrepreneur named Michael. "Ms. Williams, your speech deeply touched me. I'm starting my own business and would love to have your guidance," he said. Seeing herself reflected in Michael's enthusiasm, Linda decided to accept. She began mentoring Michael, offering practical and inspirational advice. This mentoring relationship flourished, and Michael, with Linda's guidance, managed to launch a successful business. Over time, Linda saw many of her initiatives and mentoring programs bear fruit. Young entrepreneurs from the community began to stand out, bringing new ideas and energy to the market. Linda knew she was building a legacy that would transcend her own life. In a meeting with Mr. Wilson, they discussed the progress made since the incident at the bank. "Linda, your influence has changed our bank's culture for the better. Our employees are more aware, and our customers more satisfied," Mr. Wilson said sincerely. Linda responded with humility. "I'm happy to hear that. Change starts with small actions, but consistency is what makes the difference." Tom, now a respected leader within the bank, also shared his reflections. "Ms. Williams, your example showed me how much we can grow when we let go of our prejudices. I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn and change." In the following years, Linda continued to expand her businesses and promote inclusion in all spheres of her influence. She received numerous awards and honors for her contributions, but what filled her with the most pride was seeing the lives transformed by her actions and initiatives. Linda decided to write a book, telling her story and sharing the lessons learned along her journey. The book, titled True Wealth, became a bestseller, inspiring people around the world to fight for a fairer and more inclusive world. One quiet afternoon, while in her office, Linda looked out the window, observing the movement of the city she loved so much. She felt a deep satisfaction, seeing how her actions had made a difference. She knew there was still much to be done, but she was confident that the seed she had planted would continue to grow. Her phone rang, and it was Michael, now a successful businessman, inviting her to an anniversary celebration of his company. "I couldn't have gotten here without you, Linda. I'd like you to be present to celebrate with me." Linda accepted with joy. She knew that true success was not measured only by money, but by the positive impact we leave on the lives of those around us. At the celebration, Linda was received with affection and respect by everyone. Michael made a point of publicly honoring her, highlighting the importance of her guidance and support. At the end of the night, Linda returned home feeling fulfilled and grateful. She knew her work was far from over, but she was ready to face any challenge, always with dignity and respect.